How do you ship agents to production without breaking anything? But what if the model changes? What if responses get worse over time? How would you test that? The answer might mean building an AI iteration loop. In this video, I'll show you how to set the foundation of an effective iteration loop for agents or agent skills using feature flags, AI configs, and targeting. So I built this Decor agent, and really it was for me personally because I am not that good at interior design. So I built this because I kind of needed help myself. So I was able to build this using LangGraph, and this is an AI agent that basically answers all of your interior design questions. It gives you sort of sound advice, and it goes based on your theme, kind of like how you want to decorate, like mid-century modern. It gives you color palette ideas and other things, other sort of recommendations. And it has 3 skills, and these are Style Advisor, Room Planner, and the Trend Spotter. So we'll be able to see this in action. And the goal is to be able to understand how you can set up a AI iteration loop and how this is going to allow for you to get better results from your AI agents based on the model, based on other configurations, and we'll be able to see that in action. But first, let's kind of test out this agent and see exactly what it does from the UI standpoint. And I believe it is localhost 8000. Yes. Okay, so I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, perfect. So it's just saying, hey, I'll be happy to help. And now it's going to ask me some clarifying questions. All right, so before we get to the rest of the demo, I want to touch on the difference between CI/CD and AI iteration loop. So when you think about it, most engineers already know about CI/CD. That is, you're writing the code, you're running the tests, you're deploying, you're monitoring. The AI iteration loop follows the same structure, but adapted for a system where you can't write a unit test that says a certain response equals expected. An LLM output is non-deterministic. So the same prompt can produce a great answer today and a mediocre one tomorrow. So instead of asserting exact outputs, you evaluate quality on a spectrum. And that means instead of just monitoring uptime and error rates, you have judges scoring whether the answers are actually good. And this happens continuously on live traffic. But it's also great because you can also do this before release or before you deploy. And that's through offline evals. You're able to test different AI config variations before it affects your end users. So with CI/CD as a pipeline, even though the process itself is sort of cyclical, there is still a sort of beginning and an end. Deploy your code, and once it's deployed, it's done. But with AI agents, even if you don't change anything, there can still be a quality drift, whether that is a change in a model provider or updates to weights or shifts in user behavior. Or for instance, the agent skill for this Decor agent that tracks trends as the trend spotter may detect new emerging trends that your prompt doesn't cover. So the loop keeps running because AI systems need continuous evaluation, not just deployment and then monitoring. So you build, you evaluate, you release, you evaluate again, you monitor, you iterate. And the thing about iterating, you use the insight that you gain from the judges that you set up within your evaluation stage, and that informs sort of the type of tests that goes into your offline evaluations so that you can test these things before it affects your end users. So now that we've covered the difference between CI/CD and AI iteration loop, now we can sort of get into the demo. It's important to note that LaunchDarkly now has its own MCP server as well as agent skills. And so the agent skills is what we'll be using to set up everything from start to finish. So we have them for feature flags. We also have them for AI configs as well as metrics. Now we won't be using metrics today, but we'll for sure be using feature flags for gating our skills. And when I say gating, I mean that being able to create a feature flag specifically for our Decor agent so that we can toggle it on and off when we want to remove access to it. That is going to be really important, especially once you start working with multi-agent systems and multi-agent workflows. So we'll be doing that, and then AI configs for being able to try out different variations. So this is going to be sort of an integral part in this setup. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up my Claude Code desktop and configure it with the MCP server for LaunchDarkly. So the first thing we'll do is go to settings, Claude settings, developer, and then edit config. And it's going to take you to the Claude desktop config JSON. This is where you'll be able to config new MCP servers within your Claude Code environment. and you will need to fill in your API key. So I'm going to fill this in and then we'll come back. And I made sure that the directory that I'm in, that it's on Decor Agent. For the API key for your MCP server, this can be found on your LaunchDarkly account. So once you go on there, you'll create a new access token, and then that is what you'll use as your API key. Okay, so you can install these globally, but right now this is just installing in this working directories. So Decor Agents, Claude skills file. So now we have access to all of our agent skills, and we're going to create our project. And the name of this project is going to be called Decor Agent Demo. And this will also be a testament to whether or not the MCP server is running properly. So it should be using skills. So now it's telling me that LaunchDarkly doesn't expose this, but I know for a fact that it does. For LaunchDarkly. So a little bit of debugging here. Right, okay, of course. So yeah, so when I ran this command, what I should have did was restart it again. So I'm gonna do that now. So now I can run this again. Now it's going to load this. All right, so it was able to create the project, had to do a little bit of debugging. I want to verify that it's actually in the LaunchDarkly UI. So let's go check. I'm gonna click refresh. Perfect. Okay, so now I see my newly created project, and I'm going to grab the SDK key from this project, and I'm going to add it to my .env file. So now I'm going to create my feature flag, and this feature flag is going to act as the gate for the entire or the overall AI agent. So the Decor agent. So if it's toggled on, that means you'll be able to interact with the UI and get a response. And when it's disabled, then you will get something like maintenance or unavailable at this time. And so that's to show you just how you can use feature flags as sort of a kill switch. Create feature flag. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so let's check to see if the feature flag is in the UI. Okay, we go to flags. Awesome, so we see it here. It is enabled for both test and production. So if we go to the chat UI, let me actually make sure that it's running. Okay. I'm going to say it's a 1-bedroom apartment with mid-century modern decor. If I go to LaunchDarkly and I toggle the flag off for the production environment, and this is the same environment where we pulled our SDK key. So if I toggle it off and then I go back, and as you can see, it says Decor Agent is temporarily unavailable for maintenance. Check back soon. This kind of gives you the idea of how you can use feature flags within your AI system. So let's turn it back on because we will need it for the rest of the demo. All right, so now we're moving on to creating our AI configs. We have the AI agent as a whole. We also have the 3 agent skills. So we're going to create AI configs for those 4 components. And this prompt is basically saying, create this Decor Agent main AI config and set up these configurations. Make sure that it's a completion agent. Okay, I'm going to let that run. I also gave it the agent skill that it should be using. So for the agent system prompt, as you can see, it's not just this one-liner, hey, you're, interior designer and you do these things, but it also gives the tools available to you. It also gives routing, criteria, process, output, format, and then also constraints. These are, sort of like what not to do. Okay. This is done for each of those. So for the style advisor, for room planner, and then for the trend spotter. And so this is context engineering in action. It's not just about executing prompts, but it's giving it as much data that it needs to be able to define the behavior of the agent. Now we see that all 4 configs are created. I was running into some problems, and it was because Claude Code was trying to execute the agent skills without verifying them first. So it kept running into failures. And then I was able to kind of scold it a little bit to say, hey, before you execute any skills, just make sure that you reference the skills first. So let's check this within the UI. Okay, so if we go to AI configs. Perfect. We see that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to variations, and then we'll move on to targeting. And for variations, we're going to set that up for the AI agent itself. So I created these two variations for budget conscious versus luxury curator. I wanted to be able to see how the responses are impacted by these changes by toggling between these two variations for the agent itself. So I'm going to grab this here, and then within Claude Code, I'm going to add this here. So add that I want these variations there. Okay. For the Decor agent main, create two variations. Perfect. So it's going to read the variations guild first before executing. All right. So when I go back to the UI, it should have these two new variations. And here we go. Beautiful. I added a luxury curator to be very opinionated, and then also to find the highest quality. For the budget conscious, you want to focus on IKEA articles. So that's why these variations were created, because I really wanted to test that functionality. And we still have the baseline. And now we're going to set up targeting. We want targeting to be based on different criteria. I'm going to set it to premium versus free. And so I did decide to add a premium versus a free selection within the UI, just to be able to test out whether or not it would make suggestions to me based on the variation premium versus free tier. And as you can see, I took this command 11x14 boho theme. And because I was on the free tier when I made this request, it suggested, hey, here's an IKEA couch. It's between 700 and 800. But this time I used the exact same prompt, but on the premium tier. And as you can see, it's suggesting these luxury sort of couches, $3,800, CB2. Anytime I see CB2, I'm like, that's going to be very expensive. The last thing I wanted to show is the monitoring tab for your agents. So if we go to one of our agents, I'll choose the Decor agent because we had our variations for that. And of course, we had these two variations, and then the neutral one, which actually leaned more towards budget conscious. And if we went to targeting, we were able to see how we were able to decide which users were routed to which agent skill variation. And then when we go over to monitoring, we're able to see how much traffic each of these variations were getting. So input tokens, we're able to see the total tokens, cost, even the amount of requests that each variation is getting. And this will be helpful because let's say one variation was receiving less requests, but had higher costs. That would be something that we would investigate. In this video, we were able to see LaunchDarkly's agent skills in action to build the foundation for a reliable AI iteration loop. Use this setup to explore next steps, like creating offline evals plus data sets, guarded rollouts, and online evals. That's all for now. See you in the next one.